welcome back to Knitting in Our Jeans. I'm Liz.
I'm Carolyn.
And yes, it is Monday. We did say we were going back to Sundays, but that didn't happen this weekend.
We were helping a friend.
Yeah, we were helping a friend with some sock troubles. Yes.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yes, because Mom is now knitting a sock so that they can knit it together.
Yeah.
Because as we all know, I'm good with the concepts of knitting socks. I'm just not very fast at knitting socks themselves.
I need to get to the heels by Sunday. I think it's not a problem.
Not for you, no. So you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Toolizzforyou, Toolizzforyou.
And I'm cpredmor on Ravelry, and I've been posting as Knitting in Our Jeans on Instagram. If you looked at what I posted yesterday, the hydroponic garden is going great guns. Oh my goodness! We've already had one small salad. I just dropped a stitch. One small salad from the lettuce, and the lettuce has to be harvested again tonight because otherwise it's overgrowing. The tomatoes look like they're getting ready to bud out.
Yeah,
I think I saw 2 places.
Yeah, there's like 2 places where there might be blossoms in the next week.
Yes. It was interesting because we were supposed to feed them last Sunday. We mixed it up, and then there wasn't enough room, so I ended up...
Because you all had filled up the water on
Friday. Right. But you don't want them thirsty, so
no.
I ended up feeding them Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I think the last little bit of food went in on Friday, and they perked up almost immediately, starting Sunday, so it's like, yeah! So they're really doing well, so quite excited about that. I really haven't been posting about anything else, and I'm not quite sure why. One may be that we're not doing long distance sailing, so I'm not cut off from everything else.
Yeah.
So I'm not, because I normally I would at this time of the year I'd be showing you my knitting on the boat, looking out over the water. So there'd be water, an ocean somewhere in among the pictures of the knitting. And we're just not doing that for 2 reasons. One, because of the virus, and we're never quite sure what the harbors are going to be like in terms of what is the
regulations.
Well, and the illness density.
The population density and the infection rate in that in whatever that population density is.
And I have a problem with catching pneumonia and bronchitis and all that already.
Which you all know because you've been with us for a few years.
Right, you've heard me. And then secondarily, my left knee is the one that is scheduled for partial replacement. And it feels fine as long as I'm not moving. But once I start moving, I realize that I can't count on it. It could buckle when I first start to go do something. And on a boat, there are times when you really have to get up and scramble to do something in order for the vessel to remain safe and stable. So I don't feel that I could do that at this moment on this boat. So we're not doing long distance sailing this year for those 2 reasons, and I think they're valid reasons. I have no desire to fall off the boat. Even less of a desire to fall off the boat in untoward environmental circumstances, like in a storm, or high wind or anything like that. So we're kind of taking it slow, kind of taking it easy. The other thing would be with my knee, it would be really hard for me to be helpful in loading the boat going for a long-term sailing trip. It's 3 of those wheelie carts that have to get down to the dock and onto the boat. And it's just...
I usually help anyways, but
it
would
right
be
now
thing.
The thought of it feels exhausting, which I think in my brain sounds stupid, but it's because of the knee. Anyway. So I've been posting as Knitting Our Jeans, mostly hydroponic gardens. I have posted a little bit about the weaving, and we'll talk about the weaving in a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's what we are.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, hi everybody. Every guy, everybody. I can't speak.
We're having a week.
It's Monday.
It's Monday. You get us on Monday morning.
Yes.
So hopefully next week we'll be back to Sundays.
We'll do our best, but
we're working on it.
Have our friend maybe on Sunday.
Yes, but we'll figure it out.
We're going to talk to her on Tuesday.
We're going to figure this out.
Right.
So I've been working on a lot.
Yes.
Have you been working on a lot?
I have.
Would you like to go first? Yes, you are.
Okay, so I have talked about this dress, and it looks a little wrinkled because it's been downstairs on my sewing table for a year, waiting for me to put the snaps in. You think it snaps in a dress? Yes, snaps in the sleeve. You want to pull? So the sleeves are long, and each one has been put in with snap strips that you can buy. I got mine on Amazon. And I think they're mainly for making onesies of different heights, you know. And why would I want to do this? Well, often we had been flying from New York to someplace in the Caribbean, and you have to dress warm here and for warm weather down there, so you want to be cool when you get there. And I thought this dress had these off-the-shoulder no sleeves and a sleeve pattern. So I thought, well, this really would be well set up to try this snap strip. And this way I can have full sleeves and a sweater on and a coat, because sometimes when we're leaving here in New York, it's somewhere between 0 and 10, often 20, maybe 0 to 20.
Yeah.
So it's cold, and having your arms covered is really good. This way, when I get down there, I can wrap the sweater around my waist. I can unsnap the sleeves, put them in my carry-on, and suddenly I'm fine.
Yeah.
You know, so I thought this could be a really good traveling dress. And considering it's been balled up for a year, it doesn't look too bad. I think if it stood out on a hanger or hung out on a hanger for about a day and a half, it would be fine. It's really comfortable. Obviously, it's a stretch cotton, so it still fits. So this is the sewing I did this week. I did not cut out that Lily Pulitzer fabric, but that may be this week. I have pulled, oh gosh, about 10 patterns, maybe 15, and I bought one. Megan, the independent pattern person, Megan somebody.
I don't remember.
Anyway, and I think I may make it in that, or so anyway, we'll see. I certainly want to make up a muslin of it, although I have some old sheets from my mother-in-law, or it could be old curtain fabric that's cotton, and I can make it up in that, and I could get 2 dresses for one. You could. Yes. So
I mean, do we not remember the Marco Island skirt?
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry, we had some nicely pale or had washed out striped sheets that I made into a formal skirt muslin. So anyway, this is the sewing I did this week. I'm really quite happy with the whole thing. So yes, I did. First I tried hand sewing it in, and I'm glad that I did the hand sewing because it was an excellent way to baste it in without having to pin. Because with the snaps, you're already going over some hardware. I found that I had a darning foot with my last machine, but somehow the darning foot I probably turned in when I traded that machine in for the machine that I presently have, which I've had for 10 years. It's not a new machine. So I've ordered a new freehand sewing foot, because that way I could do this and have the needle go exactly where I want it without worrying about a presser foot bumping over snaps and other hardware. So I did that. Something else. There are 2 presser feet that I bought. I think, a very slim foot. Okay. I have a zipper foot, but this I think will be slimmer. So we'll see. So anyway, sewing. Did you do any sewing? I did. Okay. I did sewing last week. So I remember how I mentioned I was thinking of going into Manhattan and making a top. So I did. I made a top, and it has a matching mask. So this is a wrap top.
And it looks really good.
Yeah, so this is a, kind of vintage, it's a dress that I have cut the skirt off of, essentially, in the pattern. And so I have put ties instead of any other closure, because I think they will just maybe
allow for more customization.
Well, that, and also I'm just trying to see how it'll fit. So it ties up at the, right
Bust.
at the bust, and then down at the waist. And then I'm going to put a snap, I think, here, or 2 snaps, and it'll come like that.
I
And
like it. It looked good when you had it on.
Thank you. And so I have another one I've made of these. I have 2 others cut out, and I think it's really nice for summer. I was really comfortable in it. I did end up going into Midtown on Tuesday, and it was fine.
Boots.
Yeah, I went and I picked up my work boots, essentially, and a few other office.
Tea?
Yes, my tea and a few other office sundry things, because there's just a lot of uncertainty going on, and so I wasn't sure, what was going to be happening, and so I wanted to get my stuff.
That job will finish that you are on. It'd be good to get your stuff
It'll be good,
site.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the UAE wants your boots.
No. But it was funny because I thought my boots were at the site office. They weren't. I had ended up sending them back to the main office. And so I found out that when we moved the office in the site, that some other people's boots went missing. And so I was like, all right, you dum-dums, like, where are my boots? Why did you steal a pair of women's boots?
They didn't.
They ended up not. But the 2 other guys who said they couldn't find theirs are still looking for theirs and can't find them. So I feel bad for them. But I was like, I remember I sent a text being like, hey, BT Dubs, I ended up packing it into the main office stuff. Okay, bye. So that was what I sewed this week.
Okay.
It was very exciting because I went in and I had my matching mask and my top, and the boys were all like, oh, it matches. How did you do that? And I go, I made the mask this morning. I made the top yesterday.
Yeah.
And they're all just like...
And they're in construction.
To which I'm like, you know this about me. I have not worn a sweater on this job. Like, I made it kind of my mission not to wear a sweater that wasn't made by me on that project. And I did. I ended up doing that. So I was like, why are you guys shocked? Everything I've worn here, I have made.
Right.
What the heck? Whatever. So they were all very impressed. It was very fun. So it was good to see them. But other than that, I have been knitting away. Do you want me to continue, or do you want to trade off?
I can trade off.
Okay.
Olivia
has a bum!
Yes. So I figured out that it was working on the double-pointed needles that was really hurting my hands. I'm not used to working on double-pointed, and I end up using a very tight gauge on double-pointed. I think I've mentioned before, so then it goes slipping out of the work. So my plan is each day after we do our podcast is to do another piece on Olivia. So I think what's next in the plan is to attach arms, and so I may do one arm this week and one arm next week, or maybe both arms. We'll see. But Olivia now has a stuffed body. I'm quite pleased. So far, so good.
Looks really cute.
Yes, my plan is not to put button eyes, even though they do have safety eyes, because she's going to someone who will be just a year old. And while they say those safety buttons will work, I have known children who can outwit any safety item.
Are you speaking of your own child?
I'm not naming names. Well, and her mother was...
Oh.
A little...
I was going to say, are you talking about this small child, or are you talking about the mother of this small child?
This small child. Her mother was quite inventive. So what I'm going to be doing is sewing the facial expression on Olivia so that, it'll be little threads and it shouldn't be a problem. I have not heard that threads could be a choking problem. So anyway, that's the plan here. So today I will put at least one arm on, maybe 2. We'll see how it goes. So that's the update on Olivia, and I think she's just adorable.
She really
Isn't it nice when you love your own work?
Yeah. So I've been taking a safety class, which is a 30-hour class.
OSHA.
because I'm in construction in New York City. There are rumblings that this is a thing I might need as a construction professional. So I have been doing that this week, and I'll be doing it again, or I did it last week, and I'll be doing it again this week. So I finished the pattern rows of my Barndom.
Oh, cool.
And I'm up to the border. So I've done the first part of the border, and now I do 9 garter ridges in the, multicolored. And then I think it's like only another 3 garter rows. But it's good.
And then probably an I-cord bind off.
To have. No, I think it's a regular bind off.
Really?
Even though it's a Stephen West. Yeah, it's one of his early ones.
Ah.
So I don't think it's an I-cord bind off.
Although an I-cord bind off
would be very nice, yes. So when we get to that point, we will assess.
Okay.
But yes, I've been working on that. And then...
So I've been working on my travel...
your traveling sweater?
My traveling sweater. And it is getting huge. Or long. So, where's my needles? All right, so I have done another section. So I did from here to here. This is the 7th section. I have one more section to go. And then I believe I will then do a 3-needle bind off or some kind of grafting thing because these are live stitches down here since it's a provisional cast on. And then so I think that then
how many do you need again? Sorry.
I need 8.
8. Okay, so you're on your last one.
Yeah, I am. And when you fold it over like this, you can see that this is the yoke and the body. Let's see, how does it go? This then becomes the collar and the body. So my arms will be on a piece that is yet to be made, and it comes here and gets attached kind of there, and so then this top part becomes the collar, the bottom part becomes the body. I think it's going to be a very interesting construction. So anyway, one more section to go on this. It is certainly moving along. I am still using my place markers, stitch markers.
Progress keepers?
Progress keepers, that's the word. To denote how many rows I've done. I need to do 11 rows per mini section. There are 4 mini sections per section. And so as I finish a row, I stick another progress keeper on, and then I can just count the progress keepers so that if I put it down, I can see where I am. And then the other thing I do is as I finish each mini section down here, I will put a multicolored movable stitch marker. So 1, 2, 3, then I know the last one will be 4, and that's when I put one of my coilless safety pins on, and that denotes an entire section. So there's a method to my madness, but it is coming along. I'm getting tired of it because there is a KAL.
The Indian Tangled
The
KAL.
Indian Tangled KAL that I would like to get stuck in on.
We'll talk about that in a little bit because I'm helping run that.
Right. So what I'm thinking of is I may try to do a mini section a day and then put this down so that I can start my Indie Untangled KAL. I have to find the yarn. It's around here someplace. It's either, that's the Long Island Yarn Crawl, so it may be over there. I don't think I put it up on the shelves.
Okay.
Under the desk is pretty well cleaned out. It's not bad. But we will identify where the La Bien-Aimée went. It will be a 2-color sweater. I'm actually thinking of a twin set. If I have enough yarn. So I have to get the La Bien-Aimée out to see what the yardage is. Because when I pulled up the yardage requirements for various patterns, twin sets came up. So I want to check and see, and it may be that I do the cardigan in the La Bien-Aimée and do the under part in another something. We have to check yardages. So anyway, progress made on this. So excited.
So another thing I've been working on in my class is my Engle by Caitlin Hunter. So I have been working on the body. So I've got about 1.5 inches, 2 inches done. I need 10. So we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah, it fell on the floor. Sorry. So I've also been working on this. And this is kind of nice because it squishes down and I can just throw it in the bag.
And you said the mohair was very nice for stitches that want to fall off but can't go anywhere.
Yeah, it's a little squiffy. They tend to drop or knit two together or try to get knitted together, but then they don't ladder too far if you do end up missing one. And they just hang out there and they go, "Hi, you missed me. You missed me." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. We'll come and get you." So, you working on anything else? I've got so much this week. I had
mentioned that I was going to try to finish some of my weaving, and this needs to be woven in. And I did. Here's a towel. All right, so I'm still working on my tension in my weaving, and it's not the weft that's the problem. That's the weaving back and forth. But it's getting the warp on the loom at the proper tension. And this illustrates the problem I had as a single person trying to hold all of my warp as I'm winding it on the back ratchet, okay? And as I was holding it, the sides were being held at a greater tension than the middle. If I had 2 hands, if I had 3 hands, it would have worked. Mm-hmm. So the sides were at greater tension than the middle. So this kind of nonsense is what was going on. And I don't quite understand why it looks like there's more room on this end and they're moving all around instead of having flat fabric like the extra long warp in the middle had. I have no idea. But what you do with a dress when you've got a woven fabric and you've got a curved seam is then you clip into the seam to relieve the stress. So on this side, and this has been washed and put in the dryer, so this is as small as it's going to get because it went in on sheets or heavy cottons, so it was hot and massive spin, and then it was an hour in the dryer. So then I zigzagged along the side, then I clipped it kind of every 3 to 4 inches, and then I have gone back and I have done, it's more of an edge stitch than just a zigzag. Yeah, more of an overlock, and if I'd wanted to get the serger out, I could have done that. In fact, I could just go ahead and, you could if you had a serger, you could have just gone in and serged it and gotten rid of the last 2 warp threads. And I think that would relieve the problem because I went in at only about 1/8 of an inch and I think cut the last 2. So if I wanted to get my serger out, and maybe I'll try that. Yeah. And serge right inside, cutting off the last 2 stitches. Of course, that'll put the overlock, and then I'm thinking of putting through the washer and dryer again. There are some places where, due to the looseness of the warp, there were some issues in picking up the right stitches. And this was using a boat shuttle. I was finding with the very loose warp, it was better to use my long straight shuttle than the boat shuttle. But I had already pre-wound the cotton, so this color was on the boat shuttle. And I was standing while I was doing it, so I find that I can actually concentrate a little bit better when I'm sitting and weaving. But I think if I did it with any kind of pattern, it would have been fascinating. Yeah. Because it makes a really cute pattern. What else? So, I mean, yes, are there mistakes? Yes, there are. So anyway, I've cut this off. There is still warp on the loom. Mm-hmm. I, in the meantime, had looked again at one of the videos about getting your warp on the loom and finally watching this thing for 10th time. Post-nasal drip is the bear. So as then you've got it all wrapped onto the back ratchet, and then pulling it forward to the cloth cloth front roll. They said to knot every inch the strings that come out, and if you're doing a 10 dent reed, then you have 10 threads that become an inch. So you take 10, you time it, you kind of overhand knot them, overhead knot, overhead. Then what you do with your bar that's coming from your front beater is you put twine, and it has to be long. I was using for a 3-foot loom, 32-inch wide loom. I think I had 18 feet of twine, because you pull through the hole, so it's doubled, and then you come up and you catch one of the knots, then around the bar, and then catch one of the knots. So then what you can do more easily is you can pull on that twine to readjust the tension and make sure your tension is even all across that warp as you start. And we'll see how that goes. So I was able to put, right now I have what they call trampoline pressure on all of my warps. So, and I think it's getting down to the point where it will be a little bit more even in the tension, because when I started out winding the warp on, I had my long cardboard strips, and they go across the whole bed. Mm-hmm. The problem I ran into was then after I ran out of the cardboard, I had put parchment paper, and it wasn't as wide as the entire bar, and then I was getting unequal tension in addition to holding it strangely. So I again went on YouTube and looked up videos on how do you handle warping on a loom when you're a single person and getting the tension. And this one woman has a warping board that she had her husband created for her, that they are now making, and it's almost like a rattle, but not quite, or more than. So it's a bar that has, on the side that faces you, it has dowels every inch. And then here, there's another, it's almost like a brick where they can interlace into each other. Mm-hmm. So the top bar will unscrew and come off. You bring your warp over, loop it over the peg, and then back. And obviously, when you're doing a 10 dent, then it's 5 per peg. So you're getting every inch. And you're keeping a decent tension on it. So then once that's done and you've got everything set up they want, this bar comes back on, you screw it down, so those threads are not going anywhere. And at that point, you can start winding this bar so that you can, as one person, maintain that pressure. She also uses tension, yes. She also uses mylar strips, so that she's got a mylar strip from my graphic design, and you can buy them on Amazon, that she layers on. And so as she's winding this thing, the mylar strip is getting wound on. And then you get to where your reed is, and then you can stand there and unwind this as you're winding the other on, so it becomes a one-person operation. I'm sure you're thrilled. I'm thrilled. I have already put a deposit down on one. This woman is very quick in responding. Looks to be in her mid-30s. Looks adorable. And I'll keep you posted. I'm excited about the whole thing because I am waiting for my multi-shaft reed to come. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to be able to have, my weaving keep improving, and I think getting the tension right is key to that. As it is in knitting.
Yes.
Yes.
So, my last piece of knitting is my swatch for my Mulberry Street, which I felted.
Yes, this was a discussion last night.
So, at first, it was mostly just because I was not getting gauge. So this is the needle that is suggested in the pattern. This is 3 needle sizes lower. I still don't get gauge here. even after I felted it.
I thought you did.
I'm off by a quarter of a stitch. It's fine. I'm going to go with it. There's actually not much difference between, so they want it on an 8, or they suggest an 8. I went to a 6 and to a 5. I might do the 6 and figure out the math, because I think I might end up felting the sweater, because I actually like the fabric.
Like that
it
fabric.
Becomes, so this is for the Mulberry Street, and which is in the Rhinebeck Sweater Book. And it is out of Neighborhood Fiber Co., Studio Worsted, and Dragonfly Fibers, Squishy Lace. Nice. Squishy Lace is not superwash merino. It's just merino.
Oh. So the Neighborhood is superwash.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, because if you look, it's the superwash, it's the worsted that's fine.
Yes.
It's the lace that's felted. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go with this look. I kind of really like it. So, because I'm still waiting on my yarn for my Aunt Fred, which is fine. It happens. We're having a lot of trouble with the mail system here in the U.S. right now. So, I know that the woman who sent it to me is on the case, and I'm periodically checking to see if the tracking has updated or if it has shown up in my mailbox, which it has not yet, which is fine. But I do want to have 3 Rhinebeck Sweater Book sweaters done for Rhinebeck this year. Even though we won't be going to Rhinebeck, I still would like to have Rhinebeck sweaters for that weekend. Because...
Well, and all my sweaters that I made this summer are Rhinebeck sweaters because I'm not wearing them now.
Right. So,
But there will be the Indie Untangled sweater.
So, yes. On that note, Indie Untangled Everywhere opened last week. You can still buy tickets. They're still available because it's a virtual event. So, there really is no limit except for, I believe, the Zoom conversations and, discussion panels with specific designers. Indie Untangled is also hosting their annual knit or crochet or, craft along. It's knit or crochet along for projects for Indie Untangled everywhere. The only requirement to be eligible is that you have a ticket to Indie Untangled everywhere. But you do get
$5.
Which is $5, and you can add a tote bag. You can add a Trinkles sweater tag. There's a bingo night that they're hosting, a virtual bingo night, and I've done it with the people who are doing it before, and it's a lot of fun.
I've already signed up.
Me too. And then there's the swag bag. You can get all those things.
I bought the swag bag.
So did I. But with the knit along, crochet along, you can find it on the Ravelry group. We've decided not to try any new forms of discussion boards yet for it. We do acknowledge that not everyone can use Ravelry. You can still participate even if you don't have a Ravelry or aren't using your Ravelry. You can go to the Indie Untangled form below once you finish your project. You can see the different categories. You are eligible if you have a ticket to Indie Untangled. You get extra entries if your project has cables or color work, or if you use any of the vendors for this year's virtual show, or if you use any of the designers who are being featured for this year's show. So take a look at the list. You can take a look. I've set up the Ravelry thread just to cheer everyone on, and for any questions. But you can, if you have an Instagram, and you can post the photo there, and that you can put the link to that photo in the entry form. Again, do not submit your entry form until the project is complete. We would be very shocked to see completed items now because it was you have to have cast on after midnight this past Friday. So starting on the 15th of
14th?
No. Today is the 17th. Yesterday was the 16th.
Saturday
was the 15th, right. It's between Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
That midnight. So Saturday the 15th of August. And it'll go till October 11th. So just keep it in mind if you are going to be going to Untangled Everywhere. You can also submit, anything really.
Since I made a killing at Indie Untangled last year, I'm sure if La Bien-Aimée is not on the list,
I don't think she's doing the virtual this year. I think she's trying to
then maybe I'll pick some of my other yarn.
You might.
Yes.
But you could always just do La Bien-Aimée anyways.
I could.
So I think my Mulberry Street.
Like extra entries.
I know. I think my Mulberry Street is going to be my entry. It doesn't qualify for any additional entries, but it is a sweater that I have had in my queue for a very long time, and I want it in my closet.
Excellent.
So I think that's a good enough reason to pick it. Do we want to move on to mail then? If that's
we could. I don't think I've done
events.
I'm looking at. I did not work on my counted cross stitch. I was trying to figure out. Well, I did the weaving.
The weaving has been big.
Has been very big. So I wanted to be able to report on that. So that was good. So the weaving, I tend to do a day of this and a day of that and a day of something else. So I did not do counted cross stitch, but in the grand prize box that I got for the Long Island Yarn Crawl, there was a wrist
from Cocoa Knits
band that was magnetized. So yesterday I tried putting, I put it in there, stitch markers on it, and it's somewhat okay. But when I went like this, stitch markers went flying. So I think what I'm going to do is use it for the needles for my counted cross stitch, the embroidery. And that'll be good because then I'm not dropping needles on the floor and losing them, because I like a specific needle with a certain kind of eye for the counted cross stitch. So anyway, we've been experimenting with that. So I didn't see the point of showing you the counted cross stitch. So, but I got mail.
Yes.
Yes.
I did too, but you go first.
So counted cross stitch. This to me looks like Maine.
It's very cute. It's very New Englandy.
Very New Englandy. This is the counted cross stitch that I ordered back in May. And instead of sending it to the house here, it got sent to the office. And then I think I reported that I'd gone into Manhattan College in July to pick this up, and it was held captive in the dean's office.
Yes.
So I had to wait for them to get back to work. They got back to work on the 10th, which was last Monday. And I had sent a note to one of the secretaries and said, I have 2 envelopes with things in them. One is a counted cross stitch and the other is a pattern book. Could you please send them to me? And the secretary was lovely and said, of course I will. And so they have arrived. Now I'm not ordering any more counted cross stitch until I start finishing some.
Good plan.
But I can't say that I haven't gotten bored with it by any means.
That's good.
I am very pleased. And for me, I'm not just doing any counted cross stitch. I'm doing things that remind me of places we've been vacationing. So in my mind, I'm going away on another trip. It's a little whack, but that's okay.
It works.
It works for me. And, at a time where I'm really not that mobile, even if there weren't COVID running around, I'm not that mobile because of my knee. So I don't think we really would be traveling all that much. Yeah. So that came, and then I can't get it out.
You got a pattern book.
I got the pattern book came, and Richard saw it on the coffee table. Oh, good. Now we're ordering pattern books from Europe.
Yes, Dad.
Yes,
we are.
We are.
We have been doing that for a while. You just never noticed before.
Look at this.
Little does he know that
Look at
Pom Pom
that
is
dress.
European.
That is gorgeous. No, he doesn't really pay attention. La Belle. Isn't that pretty?
He only paid attention because this one has... is it not in English on the cover? No, it just
says
looks...
Europe's Top Knit Magazine.
Oh. It's beautiful.
I love that. I really do. That is certainly a collar that speaks to me. I have seen this before, and I think that that's another collar that is just adorable. I have gone through and I have dog-eared these pages.
I can see.
Yes, let me get to some more of the dog ears. This is from, I believe, 2010. Fall 2010. Speak about tunic. Look at that.
Nice.
That just looks so comfy for the coming winter. And even though we've been having a hellishly hot summer, winter is coming. This looks, I saw that and thought of your mohair.
Yeah.
Look at that. And I think with a tank top or something underneath, that would be lovely. And I'm somebody who, even in the warmest days, the evenings come and sometimes I get chilled. So having a sweater, I know last year having the linen sweater, I thought was brilliant on the boat.
The stripe thing is cool.
I love this striped thing.
It's
I think
very cool.
that is really nice. So while I bought this for one particular pattern, and I have not looked up in my queue as to what that pattern would be.
That's interesting.
I think it's just the tube scarf.
Oh, okay.
But I'm looking for some more of my dog ears. Anyway, ooh, look at that.
Oh, that's fun.
That would be good to do with some of the minis.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a whole heck of a lot.
It's fun.
Oh my goodness, that's just brilliant. They're calling it reminiscent of paintings of Gustav Klimt.
Ah, yes, with the like gold in between. Yes, I see it.
Just love it.
Yeah.
And it's tunic length, and it's A-line. I think that that's going to be another dog ear. So anyway, this has a bunch of very colorful patterns in it.
Yeah.
So if you're wondering what to do with those minis that you've got, some of these patterns may be perfect. So I have now gotten all the mail that I was looking for from the office, which is nice.
That is.
Manhattan College is doing hybrid classes, so, each person can decide how comfortable they are in going into campus. So as a faculty member, I could ask to be online only. And there are several just automatically, you have to request it, but if you're over 65, done. Yes, that's a high risk. If you have lung problems or have had, bouts of pneumonia, and I am famous for the bouts of pneumonia. The last Dean search I did, I went in, it was on a Saturday, and I started my antibiotics on a Thursday, so the doctor let me go in. So the present Dean knows exactly how much I cough.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then there was a faculty meeting 3 weeks ago, where they got on and said, if we don't exactly fit those parameters that are automatic exclusions, but what if, my child has a problem and I don't want to bring virus home?
Right.
Anyway, there are ways to get exemptions to be totally online. You can also do a hybrid class where you meet one day and go online the others. And I have done that in the past, and I found that to be a great way to teach if you can be in person. I really loved it because it allowed me to have the students talking to me that wouldn't speak up in class, but suddenly online they're verbose. And I found it amazing, just amazing. So it opens up some students that won't open up in person. So when I talk about online isn't great, it's just different. And the people who are teaching online are the same people that would be teaching in person. We're just teaching different ways. So I think it opens up a whole world of possibilities. Anyway, so Manhattan College is going both virtual and hybrid and in person too. So the department and the professors can make that kind of decision. Students too. They can decide whether or not they want to be in person or not. So it's a whole thing. But I got what I needed. Yes,
That's
mail
great.
for you. Yes.
So yes, I if you all remember, a few months ago, in May actually, I ordered some fabric, some Star Wars fabric, and it came this week. So, I have some athletic swim fabric in this droids print. I have 2 yards of it to make leggings and maybe a swim top, or who the heck knows, but I have 2 yards of it, and it's definitely going to become at least 1 pair of leggings. It's a good quality,
it's great quality
stretched knit, and this apparently, and even when you stretch it, the print doesn't distort all that much, which is really nice. And this is my first order from this company, so I was really happy to see that. So that came, the droids came. I also got what this company is known for is their Floral Wars, which is floral Star Wars fabric. And so I did get some floral Star Wars fabric, also to make leggings, because hey, why the heck not? And then I also picked up some polysilk in this black and white.
Looks like purple.
Well, it's pink with the black and white Floral Wars print.
Okay. It's lavender to me.
No, it's pale purple, pink.
Okay.
So I got 2 yards of that as well, so that'll probably become a robe or something, or maybe lining. And then I got a yard of cotton, like almost quilting cotton, I think. Toile.
I think that's really nice.
Yeah, so it's got a whole bunch of people on it. Yeah. So that all came. I'm pretty excited. I think the quilting cotton is probably going to become the lining of something. Or maybe the lining of a few somethings.
Yeah.
Because it's really
it's a lot
cute.
of it. It's very wide.
It is. It's pretty wide. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited it came. Really nice quality. So I think if there's
the fabric is really good.
I think if there's any other prints that they come up with that I have a strong feeling about, I will definitely order from them again. This order took longer than usual because of COVID, but also because it is the May the 4th order, which always has a very long lead time because so many people order more during that specific time because they are more known for their Star Wars print.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got that, and I think that so ends my shopping. I did some shopping this morning, though.
Did you?
Yeah. Remember that cape I showed you that I really want to make?
Yes. Deeply.
I might or might not have bought some maroon boucle sparkle wool fabric.
Ooh.
Because it was on sale.
Okay.
It was $8 a yard and then 25% off.
Nice.
Yep.
Very nice.
Yep. Yeah, that was weird. It said your Manhattan College account was to expire. We're going to have to talk to IT and think about that.
Right.
But yeah, that's about it. That fabric will probably be in next week or the week after. There is a cape that American Duchess put out for free on their Patreon that a lot of people have made. I actually had wanted to make mine double-sided, and there was this beautiful boucle, sparkly boucle fabric on Fab Scrap, which I've talked to you all about before. Unfortunately, the black fabric was sold out this morning, but the maroon was not, so I now have 5 yards of that coming here, even though the cape only should need 2 or 3. I can make a dress out of the rest.
Very nice.
Or something. We'll figure it out. I figured might as well for that price.
Is this something like Bernadette Banner made?
So she also is making it. She has not put out the video for it. But a lot of people have made it. It's if you look on Instagram, it's the AD Cape Cult. Because it was put out for free, a lot of people have done it. and also have noted the modifications they've made, which is really nice to see. Because it is taken from an extant garment, and it's taken from a photo of an extant garment. So it'll be also my first pattern that I will then have to self-draft, essentially, which I'm kind of excited about.
I need to sneeze.
Bless you.
Thank you.
But what I have heard is that sometimes the wrap around does not always meet, but Morgan Donner made one and put ribbon for her tie in the back, and I think I might do that too, because if the beautiful burgundy ribbon that I found downstairs matches the maroon fabric, I might go, Mommy!
I think it's a satin ribbon.
I think it is.
So it's a good fabric ribbon.
Yeah. So that'll be nice. Okay, Mr. Lawnmower Man.
They're here.
Yeah. So I think instead of making it double-sided, I might just make it, one-sided. We'll have to see, because I might end up, who knows, finding a black tweed or something to do as the lining, and then to do it
here
back.
Can be chilly.
Yeah.
And it might be nice to have it lined with something that's a little
Well,
bit more solid than a boucle.
Well, I was going to line it either with our flannel back satin, either the black or I think we still have some of the, gold from your coat downstairs.
I'm not sure.
But I was thinking, because Noelle from Costuming Drama made hers reversible. And so I was thinking of essentially doing the same thing, because essentially you just then, bag line it, and it works out great. So that's my plan.
I think a black tweed would be lovely.
Yeah, so I'm gonna keep looking around. But as we all know, I do love a statement outerwear piece. So I think this is right up my alley.
I think I'd like to make one of those Bernadette Banner Sherlock Holmes capes.
The Ulster coat?
No, she has a cape that is long and voluminous.
She didn't make that one. Did you watch the video that came out this past week?
I don't know if it was this past week or not.
Well, she wore a cape, and I don't believe she made it. She bought that. She found that in a shop. Yeah.
So
but we can look.
Pattern.
Well, I was gonna say we can look on Truly Victorian. They might have something,
Plus, they still have a raincoat to make.
Yes, well, and we can also wait until Patterns of Fashion is reprinted, which is supposed to be this fall.
Oh, cool.
And we could I was thinking about getting them, or at least 2 of the books anyways, because then we could look at those and see.
Draft a pattern
from that.
Sounds good.
Because, yes, if you all haven't noticed by this point, quarantine has really reinvigorated us in our sewing.
Yes.
And me in particular, because it made me realize again that I can make the clothes that I want versus settling for the ones that I'm not particularly thrilled about. So I'm really excited about that option. But yeah, so I think
that's about it.
That's about
it's time to weave in those in.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even talk what I've been working on in my lap. So just back to that. Sorry about that. So I'm working on my Vivien halter top. I had gotten up to starting the straps for the halter top last night, and I realized I wasn't going to have enough yarn. So right now, I am doing a vertical intarsia kind of situation at the side seam to do the back ribbing that goes across, the back of you with a halter top in the contrast color, so that I will have more of the main color in order to properly finish both sides of straps, so I can then also do the halter top as this contrast color is my plan.
Okay.
But what I'm doing is I'm knitting across the row, I'm switching colors here, and I'm knitting to the end, and then I'm purling back and doing it. And I will have to seam up this side here, but I think that's my best option because I want to conserve as much of the main color as I can. But so far it looks really good, and I tried it on last night, and it fit really nicely. So
we had a discussion about the cast.
Oh, the bind off. We did decide. I had done I'd done a bind off where I had 3 stitches that were just knit 2 together, and then I did a knit 1, knit 2 together in the 4th stitch to bind off. That was too stretchy. So what I ended up doing was I did a knit 2 together across the whole back, but as I did it, I pulled the yarn very tightly against the needles so that it acted more like just more like taking the loop from the previous
yarn
stitch over. Yeah. And that bind off, which is very tight usually. And so this one, just because it is not going to have any support up to my shoulders, we want to make sure that it holds its shape and it holds to me. So I am going to continue, and when I bind it off the second time, I am also going to use that stiff bind off, or not stretchy bind off, which I also have read from other people. I read through some project pages, and they have done the same thing. But yeah, that's where we're at. Got a lot of knitting going on. Got a lot of knitting keeping going.
Right.
Got some sewing happening. Some sewing getting planned.
So I'm going to be, now most of you know that I love doing the round toe.
Yes.
And then I usually do an afterthought heel. But our friend is saying, well, I'm not sure about an afterthought heel. So we found another heel last night.
A gusset and heel flap heel
from
for toe up.
That I'm going to be doing in time for, I think, Sunday. And we will then be able to have a discussion about it. So we'll see whether or not I like that. I really am quite fond of the afterthought heels because it fits my foot well. But, you know, everybody is different and your feet are different, and finding a heel that suits your foot, it's important.
Yeah. But, yeah, with that, I think
now
it's time to weave in our ends, and we will talk to you all next week.
Bye,
Bye y'all.